So, before we continuing with the writing system, we need to get a little bit of practice reading the hieroglyphs. So, that is what we're going to do in the third lesson of Middle Egyptian, beginning with this name right here. So, here we have one word, a name. Now, let us look at this word. With the previous learned unilaterals, if you remember from our second lesson, you should be able to read this name with ease. So, first, we need to figure out from which direction we have to read. For this, we can simply look at the Hut hieroglyph. Since it is pointing to the left, that is where we need to read from, left to right. Next, we need to remember that it is always top to bottom when we have hieroglyphs stacked on top of each other. And with this, we have already all we need. So, step by step. The first is S. The second is N. Then we have B, and lastly Y. You would read this as send me. And that's it. So, now let us look at an entire sentence. This one right here. This is the first sentence I ever learned from Middle Egyptian. It is of course from the Great Courses Plus, to be more precise on Dr. Wikipedia. And since I already had done a video about this a while ago on my main channel, I simply will reuse that video for this. And with that, we are done with our third lesson. So, consider this ancient Egyptian sentence you see right here. Most people would reasonably guess that it pertains to birds or movement, given the depiction of birds, feet and similar symbols. However, if you made this assumption, you wouldn't be alone, but you would also repeat the same fundamental error that early scholars deciphering the Rosetta Stone encountered, and that is believing that hieroglyphs are entirely ideographic or purely picture writing. While it seems intuitive that a bird symbol implies content about birds, the true translation of this sentence actually is the sun is shining in the sky. And in this short video, I will explain you why. So, beginning with the translating of hieroglyphs. First, the phonetic nature. Hieroglyphs are primarily phonetic, also representing sounds. For example, the bird depicted is a quail chick and signifies the sound V. The foot signifies B. And the wavy line corresponds to N. The small circle at the end is an ideogram representing the sun, clarifying that Wibben or Webben. For easier pronunciation, there's an sound between the consonants, and it means shine. This highlights two main features of Egyptian words. They're usually phonetic and sometimes include an ideographic element for sense clarification. Now, the second word comprises three hieroglyphs, a mouth symbol, an arm, and the sun circle, which is silent but aids in understanding the meaning. So, combining to form the sound re, meaning sun. The next symbol is an owl, representing and translating, in this case, to in. The final word consists of a rectangle, p, and a semicircle, t, pronounced pet, with a hieroglyph below it symbolizing the sky. This word means sky, referring to the sky as a canopy held by four pillars. Notice that the word for sky features two smaller symbols positioned above a longer one. The Egyptians were meticulous about aesthetics, favoring visually appealing arrangements over linear subsequences of symbols. So, as you can see, the sentence translates to "the sun is shining in the sky," with the verb shine placed at the beginning. This positioning reflects the common structure in ancient Egyptian, where verbs typically precede the subject. And in this sentence, you can see hieroglyphs serve two purposes: phonetic representation of sounds and as visual aids or determinatives that clarify the meanings of phonetic words. For example, the sun in the sky hieroglyphs act as determinatives. But hieroglyphs can also function as ideograms, pictorial symbols representing a concept on their own rather than as a part of a word. Ideograms often appear with a stroke, indicating their stand-alone status. For instance, the symbol for sun could be written as the following: